We're live? Oh, perfect. Okay. Well, good morning, everybody. My name is David Black, and I'm a Senior Vice President of Commercial Insurance here at Cowan Insurance Group. I'm happy to be here presenting on cyber, and welcome to those that are here present, as well as to those that are online. So good morning, everybody. So we have a packed agenda here. I really want to go through just a brief introduction about our firm, talk about what's changed in the world of cyber. What does this mean for your organization? What remains the same? The current cyber landscape, some key vulnerabilities, transferring risk, best practices, and then just an explanation of what's available in the marketplace to try and transfer risk, so a coverage offering, and then maybe a couple of claims examples. Please, if you have any questions, just ask. Don't wait till the end. I know that folks are monitoring the chat, so if you have a question, just put it into the chat. I'm happy to answer it throughout the presentation. So a little bit about our firm. We're a brokerage and consulting firm that's proudly Canadian, fiercely independent, and family-owned. We're looking forward to celebrating our centennial in 1927. We're 600 employees. We're licensed across all provinces and territories, and located primarily in central southwestern Ontario. In terms of what we have to offer to our clients, we are a full-service brokerage offering personal lines and commercial lines. We also offer benefits, pension, and wealth management, and we have some key segments that we focus on, MUSH being municipalities, universities, schools, hospitals, and not-for-profit, and then manufacturing, construction, technology, and transportation are our key segments. So before I move on to this next slide, how many people have clicked on a link or liked something in order to get something for free? Show of hands. Okay. And then if people come over to your house, what's the first thing that someone does when they do, whether it be a family member, whether it be a friend, or if you have kids, whether it be a kid? Can I have your Wi-Fi password? And everyone gives it. True? Perfect. Just going to give you a little bit of a video here. It's kind of interesting, I think, anyways.
Oh, hi, can I help?
Hot chocolate.
What's her name?
Joelle.
What was her name?
Alex.
Alex. There you go, Johnny.
If you like our Facebook page, we give you a free hot drink and a free pastry.
We have a new line for Damien. We have a new line for Damien.
Hey, Carly, are you standing by?
Standing by. Hi there, can I help?
Yeah, I just liked your Facebook page.
Okay, I'll search Facebook
I'm
now.
searching Google.
Have a phone number.
I've got his email address.
Okay, Carly, are you ready?
For information on Damien.
Yep, I am.
Mother's maiden name is he banks with
Carly, this is the girl coming in now with the blue scarf.
What's her name? Nicholas.
Nicholas. His date of birth, 7th May. She lives at 38A.
Just be a couple of seconds.
2 children at age 4 and 6. Previous address. She's got the postcode.
Yeah, got it. Damien, age 26 and a fitness instructor.
How do you know that?
Brody goes to UCL. Martin went to South Thames College. Assistant psychologist at Great Ormond Street.
I don't understand.
Oh, better.
You know I'm a Christian as well.
Oh yeah, we know everything about you, Martin. Thank you. Nice to meet you, Anna from Russia.
So this is an old clip, but I think it's one that's relevant, and I want you to keep what you just saw in mind as the presentation goes on. But it is important to note that threat actors will do surveillance on you if they're looking to try and get information on you. Easiest ways is your social media. So what's changed? We're testing a new normal. So really, when you think of the pandemic in terms of how we've invited our employees into our workplace, allowing them to work from home, we're more decentralized. We've lived business continuity plans, and we've had to really adapt quickly to change as it relates to IT infrastructure and cybersecurity. So what does this mean for organizations? We have an increased attack surface. So before, everything was always kept within these four walls here at Cowan. Now that's expanded with employees working from home, and we're no different than any other employer in Canada. Businesses and employees are distracted, so like it or not, there's lots of different things going on at home that pull you away from your computer screen, that have you not thinking about things when you're opening up emails and deciding to click on certain items. There's high employee turnover, a lot of retirements, a lot of people moving within different jobs within the industry, and we're relying on our employees to provide home security for our businesses. Also, data storage. Where do we store our data? What buckets are they in approved containers? Are we using VPN? And then I don't think anyone can look at media now and not be faced with some comment or something to do with AI and the impacts on cyber. So here's just a few stats that I believe are important. But if you look in the last 5 years, really cyber in terms of leading risk for organizations is usually ranked always one. In the last 10 years, usually top 10 to top 5, but in the last 3, it's been number 1. Cyber criminals are most concerned about, organizations are most concerned about ransomware, social engineering, and then malicious insider activity. So actually employees doing bad things to the organization. Social engineering and targeted phishing attacks are #1 hacker technique. And that's something that we've seen at this firm in the last 18 months, that the threat actors have changed really from ransomware on a frequency basis to social engineering fraud. Social engineering fraud is being tricked out of money. So your typical Google card scams, which still happen. Information security is also not a static, it's a continuum. So making sure that you have strong defense, that you're using layered techniques, so not just relying on one asset in order to protect the organization, being updated on new tools to make sure that you're continuing to develop and being on the offensive rather than defensive. So things like artificial intelligence, machine learning, advanced threat protection, which you'll hear about a little bit later, and just continuous improvement, testing your plan, making sure that it works. Ransomware is still the largest contributor to claims in terms of frequency, so the number of claims and severity. So the average ransomware attack in 2024 was 2.73 million, and it was an increase of about $1 million on average over the year before. 97% of organizations get their data back, which is an interesting statistic, which really tells you that the threat actors aren't interested in the data, they're just interested in the cash. Ransomware attacks have increased by 13% in the last 5 years. So if you take a 15% growth, that's doubles every in 5 years, with an average cost of 1.85 million. The average downtime a company experiences after a ransomware attack is 24 days, which is interesting because all the applications I see, most clients will say that they can get back up and running within 24 to 48 hours. In a ransomware attack, it's significantly longer. Threat actors use technology to infiltrate and monitor networks before attacking. So they can lay dormant in your systems for a week, a month, or multiple months. And every business is a target. So I think you hear on the news a lot, it's not if, but when it can happen. So you go back about 10 years ago, threat actors were really stealing personal and health information. They were low ransomware demands. It was high frequency, really broad brushed approach, trying to attack individual organizations. And now they switched to ransomware attacks that are more focused and exfiltrating data as well to ensure that they get their money. The shift from untargeted, like I said, with low ransomware demands to targeted really relies on just what you saw. So trying to find somebody within an organization, trying to learn something about them, and then trying to target them specifically so that they can click. They're more sophisticated. The demands have increased significantly more, as I just mentioned, from thousands of dollars to millions of dollars. They are targeting backups, so that really focuses on your inability to get back up and running. So now you are really more reliant on getting that decryption key and paying for it. They're looking to exfiltrate data as well, so that if you do have backups, then they can say, well, fine, we'll just post this on the dark web if you don't pay. And so again, just really trying to make sure that they're looking to get their funds. They're increasing the number of focused and targeted attacks. And like I said, they can lay dormant in your systems for a long time. So key vulnerabilities. I really like this one because my name's Dave. But really it's human error. So you can do a lot of good things as an organization in order to protect your business, but really your employees and human error is something that you can't control. Poor password hygiene, so just making sure that you have complex passwords. Some firms make you change them on a regular basis like ours. Some don't actually, but making sure that you have a strong password. Make sure that you have vendor management. So who else has access to your infrastructure, and how are you controlling them to making sure that they have the same type of cybersecurity and hygiene that your organization has, and they're not a actual threat vector for your organization. Having an incident response plan, not making it up at time of incident. And then making sure that you're trying to manage against sophisticated social engineering schemes, and they are getting really sophisticated. So when we look at transferring risk, despite cyber attacks being the #1 risk by organizations, still 50 to 60% of organizations actually buy a cyber liability policy. The global cyber liability insurance market is a multi-billion-dollar industry and expected to be in excess of $40 billion by 2032. Right now, underwriters are really grappling with increased growth versus profitability. You go back prior to the pandemic, underwriters were really focused on the growth component. So you'd complete an application, it really wouldn't matter what security features you had. They were really trying to grab a part of this $40 billion market. They realized that claims were exceeding their ability to grow because there wasn't an uptick on that purchase of the product, and that has quickly shifted to profitability. So you're seeing higher cyber premiums, you're seeing lower capacity, and you're seeing a demand for certain expectation as it relates to security before a policy is able to be provided. The policy also provides coverage for first and third party claims, which costs that the business would incur and costs that they would incur as a result of a lawsuit. I'll get into that a little bit more detail later. And then the policy also provides all of the supports and services in order to get you back up and running in the event of a claim. So some of the best practices, which I've listed here, which are important. I think table stakes, everyone would think antivirus is really important. Having a diligent patch management program. So again, what is your cadence on making sure that all of your assets are updated on a regular basis to make sure that there's no vulnerabilities by the manufacturer themselves? Use of a VPN. So this is an appliance that creates a secure encrypted connection. And so again, if you're using a public network, you're trying to access your company's infrastructure, this is a way to try and help protect that use when you're, say, in a public environment. So say a Starbucks or an Airbnb, because you're on vacation and you're doing a little bit of work while you're away. Multi-factor authentication. So a lot of people think I have 2 passwords. So that's multi-factor. That's dual factor authentication, just means you have 2 passwords. Multi-factor is just another way of trying to authenticate yourself. So you have a password and then your phone sends you a passcode, recognizes your face, something like that, and that's your secondary means. Remain vigilant on phishing and social engineering attacks. So this is really employee training, and that gets back to that human error. You can't eliminate that, but you can try and reduce it as best you can. You just don't want to be that Dave in the room. Strong, reliable backups. So really, really important. I've seen in a lot of ransomware attacks that backups need to be backed up on a regular basis, at least weekly. They should be segregated from the network. And one of the key things that I found during a cyber attack is, have they been tested? So normally when there's a cyber ransomware attack, that's when you find out that there could be a problem because you haven't been able to test that you can actually recover from your backups. And you don't want to do that at time of loss. So are you testing those backups at least annually or semi-annually? Encryption. So do you encrypt your data while at rest within your organization? Do you encrypt it on your portable devices like your laptop and your phone? So if they do get lost or stolen, that there's just another layer of protection. Again, that layering thing I was talking about. Vulnerability scannings and penetration testing. So have you used a third party in order to try and break into your infrastructure and find out what holes you may have so you can be stronger and better and have a better protection surface? Are all data stored in approved containers? So again, do you use thumbnail drives, which I don't think anyone does anymore, but I'm sure that they're out there. Where is your data for your organization stored? I know that ours is stored in one spot. Privileged access management tools. So folks that do have access to infrastructure, what type of controls do you have around that? So, you know, back in the olden days, the person that had the most access to infrastructure used to be the president or the CEO of the organization, and that's changed dramatically. Now it's really for folks that need access, and those are in our IT departments. And so what controls do we have that are making sure that these individuals, you know, have limited access for a short period of time? So there may be a multi-factor authentication piece in order to get a password in order to make a change in infrastructure, and that password will only be available for 2, 3, 4 days, and then you have to request the multi-factor authentication as well as a new password in order to make any changes in the future. So again, if those credentials are compromised, there's only a short window that a threat actor can make some changes. Advanced threat protection. So again, this layering, this is designed to layer protection. So just think about, you know, firewalls and antivirus. This is in addition to, and uses machine learning, real-time threat analysis and behavioral analysis to protect the organization. Endpoint detection and response. I always look at it this way. I go to bed at night. I live out in the country and I don't lock the door. So I get in trouble every morning for not locking the door because my wife likes the door locked because she's worried about being in the country and someone's going to come in and, I don't know, steal something, even though we have 2 dogs. So EDR is basically making sure that you're trying to monitor and protect any open holes within your infrastructure. So that unlocked door. And think about, you know, someone in IT making a change within, you know, the infrastructure and forgetting to lock down something within that infrastructure that allows a threat actor access or exposes an appliance that shouldn't be exposed on the internet. So this EDR monitors and responds to any type of unusual activity in and out of infrastructure. And then last thing would be to develop an incident response plan and test it. Any questions? Yes. Yeah, it can be a variety of things. So in my experience, it could be because the backup. Sure. So basically the question was, hopefully I get this right, I think I have the right answer too. But I made a statement that the average time to get back up and running in a ransomware attack is about 24 days. So the question from the audience was, what are some of the key things causing that 24-day delay? True? Okay, perfect. So it could be a variety of things. So my experience is that they don't have reliable backups. So those backups either have been encrypted, they haven't been tested, or threat actor has turned off the backups. They've remained dormant, and so now they're 90 or 160 days, 180 days old. So they're not really that reliable. Other issues could be just dealing with the ransomware demand in order to try and get the decryption key. And then when you get the decryption key, I always thought you just kind of dump it into the system and it all works. There's a lot of work to restore your data. So I have an example of a ransomware loss that I'll go through with you later, but it was a massive amount of work in order to restore systems, and it just took a long time, even with a lot of resource to help use that decryption key and get systems back online. Does that answer your question? Perfect. Okay, so I have another video. I like this one. I think it's pretty neat to watch. It's old, but I think it's relevant. So I'm just going to go ahead and play it.
They're going to hack me using social engineering, which is essentially hacking without any code. They just use a phone and an internet connection.
Do you want to do a sample phishing call?
What's phishing?
Phishing is voice elicitation, and basically what you do is you use the phone to extract information or data points that can be used in a later attack.
Let's do it.
Okay.
Who are you going to call?
Maybe I'll call your cell phone provider and
Okay.
see if I can get them to give me your email address.
I bet they're good. I bet they have my back. But yeah, go for it.
I'm going to spoof from your number, so it's going to look like it's calling from you.
Okay.
Hi, I'm so sorry. Can you hear me okay? My baby, I'm sorry. my husband's like, we're about to apply for a loan and we just had a baby and he's like, get this done by today. So I'm so sorry. I can't call you back. I'm trying to log into our account for usage information and I can't remember what email address we used to log the account. The baby's crying and can you help me? Awesome.
In just 30 seconds,
At gmail.com.
Jessica gets access to my personal email address.
Now, if I needed to add our older daughter on our account so she could call in and make changes, how would I need to go about doing that? You would have to send me a secure PIN through a text message? Yeah, well, the thing is, I don't think I'll be able to receive a text message if I'm on the phone. Oh, I'm not on there either? So I thought when we got married, he added me to the account.
Jess uses my girlfriend's name and a fake social security number
5127.
to set up her own personal access to my account.
Wait, I'm sorry. So there's no password on my account right now? Can I set that up?
She even gets the support person to change my password.
Thank you so much for your help today.
So she just basically blocked me out of my own account.
I'll get her fed after this. All right. Thank you.
Okay, so this is an old video clip, and I don't know who your internet service provider is, but think about when you called them 5 years ago and how easy it would have been to do that. I think controls have changed a bit, but also what threat actors are using in order to gain access to credentials is a lot more sophisticated than what that is. But you can see how, you're creating that tension, someone in customer service trying to make the customer happy, and it all seems legit. But these are the things that are being used in order to try and gain access to, someone like yourself trying to help somebody, and you're not really knowing exactly what you're doing and what the end result could be. So I talked to you about how to transfer risk and sort of what's available in the cyber policy, and I can say that really it's in 3 different buckets. So cyber policy you can transfer after you've done everything I've said about trying to make sure that your cyber hygiene is top notch, and you're layering solutions, and you have an instant response plan, and you test it, and you're making sure that you're using third parties to help you understand where your vulnerabilities are. You're locking those down, and so the risk that's left over you can, if you want, transfer to an insurance policy, and this is how the policy would work. So really it's in 3 buckets. Excuse me. There's covered costs that the organization would incur in the event of a cyber incident or a claim. There's covered losses, and then there's covered liability. So covered costs would be cost for response. So you can imagine in a ransomware or social engineering, you may need a social engineering claim, you may need a breach coach lawyer, which the policy does provide. So it provides advice on what you would need to do in terms of maybe potentially advising your clients of a breach. Should you advise privacy commissioner, and what next steps might be. Also cost for data recovery for that restoration component, which could be significant. IT departments usually don't have significant amount of resource in order to deploy time of loss in order to recreate data. And so this can be covered under the policy. And then all property policies will exclude cyber now. So if your physical asset is damaged as a result of a cyber claim, they call it bricking. So the asset's rendered useless or a brick, it can be covered under only the cyber policy. And so again, that's where your physical damage component for physical assets is covered. Covered loss, so your business can suffer a loss of gross profit and continuing expense, so business interruption. The policy can provide coverage for that. That extortion piece, so threat actor demands 50 Bitcoin. And all you have to do is go on to the internet and see how much that's worth, but the policy can pay for that extortion demand as well. Reputational harm, so again, your business can suffer a blow to your brand. There could be business that you're waiting to sign, and as a result of a cyber incident, you lose that ability to sign that business. That's a reputational type harm loss. And then I already talked to you about the social engineering fraud. You can ensure that when you're tricked out of funds, so that's a cyber crime loss. And then we look at the liability. So, you know, depending on the business, you may hold significant amounts of personal or health information. Say you're a healthcare provider or a retail type operation. And so you may be sued from your customers. You may be sued as a result of not protecting my data. And that even means if you're using a third-party service to do that, you're responsible for that data, what you choose to do and how you choose to protect it, whether it's in your own infrastructure or in the cloud, you're still responsible for it. PCI compliance, if you take credit card transactions, there could be fines or penalties as a result of the payment clearing provider. There could be regulatory from the privacy commissioner if you are not meeting the requirements of the Digital Privacy Act. And then there could be claims as a result of use of website, so media type losses as well. So I said I'd give you a couple of examples of claims. So these are ones that I was personally involved in. And the first cyber claim that I was involved in goes back to 2017. And it was a large ransomware event for one of our clients that's a large manufacturer. And they do business in Canada, US, and Mexico. And I remember getting a call, I think it was the first Thursday of February. And so the CFO gives us a call. It was around 9 o'clock saying that they feel that they've had a cyber incident. And we learned that IT folks came in at 6 o'clock in the morning, had the blue screen of death, but there's really nothing to determine exactly what was going on. And then by 6:30, they actually had the demand from the threat actors where they were demanding 75 Bitcoin in order to get a decryption key. So their insurer was notified. We notified them, and we had a call with Breach Coach Counsel in the afternoon, and sort of outlined sort of what was going on and what the next steps were going to be. The insurance company hired a forensics firm in order to reach out to threat actor. So we have to make sure that, you know, we're not dealing with a sanctioned threat actor out of North Korea or what have you. And threat actors are pretty good in hiding where they actually are in the world. So they were able to determine that, you know, this is the threat actor based on whatever 64-bit number that they gave. They were able to determine that they actually had a decryption key. They were able to confirm that they had control, they had data, and they were able to see data that they had. They were able to test the decryption key in a sandbox. They were able to negotiate a settlement of 50 Bitcoin rather than 75. And in 24 hours, they had a decryption key that they were able to deploy within the client's infrastructure. So very next day, you can imagine, again, I thought you just kind of dump it into the system and it kind of works, but it doesn't. So the decryption key is a lot of work if you aren't careful in terms of how you deploy that decryption key within your infrastructure. And this client in 2017 had all on-premise servers. So they had over 100 and some servers in Canada, US, and Mexico. So this was a big undertaking in order to unencrypt data. And so it was, you had to go through and deploy it within a server, and then it would scrub through, and then you'd have to go through about 3 times. And on the 3rd time, whatever files didn't unencrypt, you had to do it manually. So we had a call on Friday morning with the CFO, the CEO, and then the cybersecurity team that was hired by the insurance policy. And we would have a call twice a day for 2 weeks. So this is 2 weeks, twice a day, going through what happened, where are we at. The client was doing business based on Gmail accounts, so personal email accounts. The policy also hired a breach coach lawyer to provide communication to their customers in terms of what they should say actually happened. And they were a large manufacturer dealing with name brand customers that were in global customers that were wondering what was going on. Why weren't they accessible by their work email? How come production is shut down? So just making sure that they're protecting their brand as well. And then the policy paid for that data restoration, which was significant. So again, here's a client that had a policy over 2 weeks just to get back up and running, and again, a significant loss. Back then in 2017, 50 Bitcoin is around $300,000, but you can go on the internet today if you want, see how much that would be. It's in the millions of dollars. It's significant. Another a loss would be on the social engineering fraud side. So one of our clients just recently got an email from a vendor saying we've changed our bank account information. So the client has a policy in place that there should be a secondary authentication or a secondary means in order to make sure that you're verifying that change. This is a new person. They're really trying to make sure that they're efficient, doing it really quickly, and they just changed the banking information. So essentially when they changed the banking information, threat actor wasn't able to get the funds right away that they wanted. So they sent an email the next day, changing the bank information again, and this individual did it again. So 2 weeks later, over $300,000 is now gone from the bank account, and threat actor wants to get some more money. So they send another request. And on the 3rd try, that's when this new person said, this just seems a little bit odd. So now when they do an investigation, they do find that over $300,000 has been voluntary parted with, meaning, Ryan's asked for the money and said, here's 300 grand, you can have it, but they didn't know. So again, that's a cyber crime, social engineering, fraud loss, and the policy paid out. So those are schemes right now that's a really easy one where typically clients have, an authentication type policy, but you can see with human error, someone's brand new, made a mistake, that's where you can have a loss. But these social engineering fraud losses are just much more sophisticated. And so that's just an easy one to explain, but there's, with AI, deep fakes, there's a lot of other things coming down the pipe that are a lot more concerning. So that's my presentation. So I'd like to open it up to any questions if anyone has any.
I think what we're seeing a lot right now is clients will come to us saying they've been mid-thread with a vendor or a supplier, and the perpetrator has actually timed their execution to the specific point where they've interjected on the thread. So they'll be communicating back and forth about the PO, about the job at hand. They feel like they're having a more of an intimate conversation with the controller of XYZ company. And then that's when they take the opportunity to change the banking information after they've been going back and forth over a month. So the individual doesn't feel like, oh, I need to call because all the threads right here, we've been talking, we've been in close conversations. I've talked to this person on the phone about this project, but just at the specific point when the funds are about to be transferred, the opportunity is taken and they get a call 2 weeks later saying, I never got the money.
Yeah, so it happens quite a bit. And so that's when a threat actor is actually in someone's email. So, you know, you do your training, you get an email, you think it's legit, you click on it, and guess what? It's not. And so now they may have access to your email system. And so now they can see emails coming and going, and now they can be proactive in trying to attack, and that makes it much more believable when you're having these conversations and now someone's calling you on an email that you just sent. So you can think of, you know, a contractor that's waiting for financing, and so now an email comes in because someone's within an email system, financing is coming, and now threat actor also calls to verify that email and says, hey, I just sent you an email. And so now it feels real. So people will make that change, and I don't have to make that phone call. They called me, right? So crazy stuff. Any other questions? This is not meant to scare you guys. I think this is just really to highlight some of the key things. I guarantee all of you, when someone comes over and says, can I have access to your Wi-Fi, you're going to give it to them. But you're going to think about it. But what I would say is go into all your social media and make sure that you're locked down so that people can't find out who you are easily unless you let them. So other than that, thank you very much for your time. And that's the end of my presentation.